And now I'd like to welcome up to the stage Dries Beitar to give the Dries note for the DrupalCon Asia conference.
Yes. Well, it's good to be back. You know, it's good to be back in Asia with a DrupalCon. It has been 8 years. That's a long time, but so many people who keep asking us, when do you come back to Asia? And so here we are. I'm excited about it because the region has so much promise, so much potential for Drupal. So hopefully we can keep doing these things, and that it will be the first of many. Of course, in this Dries note, I'm going to talk about Starshot. How many of you have heard about Starshot? Maybe raise your hand. All right, almost everyone. And how many of you have watched the Dries note in Barcelona? All right, maybe a little bit more than half. Great. So I have a lot of things to share with you. We've made a lot of great progress. So there's going to be a lot of new things in this presentation, which is exciting. Before I do, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes kind of reminding people what Starshot is all about, all right? Especially for those people that have not heard about Starshot before. So the easiest way to explain what Starshot is a version of Drupal, a new version of Drupal, actually, and it's optimized for non-developers. So we're targeting content creators, we're targeting marketers, site builders. And so it's not really optimized for developers. Developers are not a primary audience for Starshot. What that means is, like, we want to make sure everything is drag and drop. We want to make sure you don't have to use the command line, these kinds of things. And it's also built on top of Drupal core, the version that you all know and love. Right? So it's not a fork. It's built on top of Drupal core. And we came up with a name for it. So Starshot was the code name, and Drupal CMS is going to be the product name. And we announced that in Barcelona. And so I might use these names interchangeably, but it's really better to use the name Drupal CMS at this point. It's just really hard for me to stop using the name Starshot. And then I showed this screenshot a couple of times, but the first time I showed this screenshot was actually at DrupalCon Portland about 7 months ago, when we announced the start of the development of Starshot. And it was actually a very important screenshot to show. And it was an important screenshot because it shows how ambitious Drupal Starshot or Drupal CMS is. As you can see in this mock-up, our goal is to promote it over Drupal core. That's kind of a big deal, right? The first time in 24 years, we're going to have a new version of Drupal, and we're going to promote it over Drupal core, as you can see in this mock-up. And then we spent a couple of months working on a product strategy. And we created this 9-page document that explains who is Drupal Starshot for, what kind of features do we need to build. And I won't bore you with all the details. You can actually find it online. You can go download it. You can read it. If you're planning to contribute to Starshot, I would highly recommend you check out the product strategy, because it's really designed to help all of you contribute and to enable you to make choices and decisions when you're contributing to Drupal Starshot. So you should know it. You should understand it if you want to contribute. But if I had to summarize this whole 9-page document in one statement, it would be that Drupal CMS will be the gold standard for no-code website building. And that's a simple sentence, but again, there's 9 pages of content behind that one sentence. So if you want, go check it out. And so in this strategy document, we're focused on a variety of different things. You know, we're focused on different kinds of innovations, areas of innovations that you can see on the screen here. And in this presentation, I'm going to give you an update on all 4 of those. All right? So that was kind of the recap of what Starshot is. Hopefully that was useful for those relatively new to Starshot. I see some people nodding yes. And so next I'm going to basically show mostly new things and a couple of updates, so hopefully this will be exciting to you. And I will say it's only been 2-ish months since Barcelona, which is not a lot of time. yet we've been able to make a tremendous amount of progress. So you'll find that today in the Dries node, but also in the other sessions here at DrupalCon. All right, we're going to start with recipes. So recipes are exciting. They're very, very exciting. I think recipes will be a game changer because they essentially bundle years and years of expertise into repeatable, shareable solutions. It's really a mouthful, but I think it will become very clear once I start showing you more examples. But essentially, a recipe bundles modules and configuration and content and documentation and puts it in a package. And that package allows, and we allow you to install or enable that package really easily. And it's really powerful, and I think it will be game-changing for Drupal. Now, when you look at the strategy, because Starshell is focused on marketers, we defined all of these out-of-the-box capabilities that we envisioned Starshell to ship with. We asked ourselves, what are the key capabilities that marketers want? Right? And we made a long list of those. And then we divided and conquered. We defined all of these capabilities and some other things, and we put them in tracks. And then for each of the tracks, we recruited people to lead these tracks. This is probably the busiest slide in all my presentation, with the most words, but it's probably also my favorite slide. And it's my favorite slide because it shows how many people contribute to Starshell and how much diversity there is as well. It's really become a really collaborative effort between a lot of different organizations and different people. Now, in Barcelona, I've already shown you a couple of these recipes, right? I've shown you events, and SEO, and AI. And today I want to show you some others. And I want to give you an update on one of them as well. Now, these are all the tracks that we currently have going, but we've also are in the process of launching 5 more. So if you feel inspired to contribute, you can contribute to all of the existing tracks, but you can also raise your hand to become the track lead for any of these 5 tracks that you see on the screen. And if you're interested, you can go to this URL on Drupal.org, where you can basically apply, or you can come talk to any of the Drupal Starshell leadership team that's here today as well, or this week as well. All right, with that out of the way, let's get going. So let's look at some more tracks. The first thing I want to do is actually give you an update on the AI track, which is one of the tracks that I showed and was pretty well received. So let's take a look at the AI track. And Jamie is actually here. Jamie, where are you? Raise your hand. So, yeah. And Jamie from Freely Give is one of the driving forces behind the AI track, and I think you have a presentation as well. So if you're interested in learning more, go to Jamie's session later this week.
Hello, my name is Jamie, and I'm on the AI track for Drupal CMS. Since Barcelona, we've made significant progress with the agents that you saw in the Dries node last time. They work across all the features you would expect for content types, fields, and taxonomy. But we weren't able to get views or migrate agents in for version 1. We've added a review step, and the agents give you a lot more detail on what they've done to make sure that everything is a lot safer and they do exactly what you're looking for. We've improved the install process, and I'm going to show you that soon to get you going very quickly. And we've tested it with real people who don't know Drupal. Emma is going to give an update on what she saw through doing those tests. Now, the first thing you're going to see is in the installer, you are able to select the option of that you would like AI support. It's going to set up your site and take you to the dashboard. By clicking Set Up AI, you go to this very simple page where you can pick which provider you want, put in your API key, and once you click Set Up AI, there you go, you can start using it. In order to show off our new review steps and the more detailed description of what it's done, we're going to go and repeat something that happened at Barcelona. We're going to add an image field to our wine tours. Now you can see that the first thing is it actually asks us if we want the agent to go and just do it for us, or if we would prefer to have step-by-step instructions to do it for ourselves. This could help us learn how to use Drupal and how to do this ourselves next time or similar places. But for now, we're going to ask the agent to go ahead and go and just do it. And now we can see that we have added a new logo to the Wine Tours page, and actually gives us links of places around the site where we can change display mode, change the field settings, and it's described it for us. But also, we may not enable this by default in Drupal CMS, but there's this new details. If we click on that, we can actually see the detailed description of what it's done, written by Drupal. And that means developers will be able to go and have a log of exactly every single change that has been made. If we go along and try and create something, we'll see, let's say, Barcelona. We add the logo. We see there that we have the alt text that we can generate with AI. So I'm going to save this, my wine tour. And we can now see that that image has actually been added to the view mode, whereas before it didn't support all features. And so this will really help make sure that these AI agents can actually do exactly what you're looking for, can describe it in detail, and help you feel safe with them. We took all of these agents, and we tried it out with some real developers. I'm going to now hand you over to Emma, because with the UX team, we've actually tested these agents now with real people who don't know anything about Drupal and wanted to use it. And she's going to give you some updates on how that went.
So here are a couple of things that I think were really exciting from the tests. So for context, the people I was testing with were people who were not Drupal site builders or developers. So the admin interface is pretty unfamiliar. And until the test began, they weren't aware that the tests were related to AI. They didn't know that before they came in, because I was really interested to see how they would naturally respond to having the AI agent there to use. So in the test, when they're using the Drupal AI agent, I saw how they liked the instructions that it gave them to be able to follow to do the tasks. And that helped them to achieve stuff in Drupal they would have otherwise had to work out for themselves. So it was like the agent was helping them learn Drupal in real time. And some of them made these connections themselves to recognize the value, which was amazing. And then when they started to realize that they could just get the agent to do the tasks for them on their behalf, it was great to see them giving this a go and getting to trust it as they realized what it could do, as they went to check the changes that it had made and saw that it had been successful. And as we went through the tasks in the test, you could see the curiosity building, both related to what the agent and Drupal could do, which was really heartening to see. And as we iterated through different rounds of testing, making the tweaks based on the feedback, you could see how the agent was getting better and better really quickly to be able to serve the participants, and how participants who've been maybe a bit skeptical about what the agent could do were really impressed by what they experienced when the tests were completed. So, yeah.
Yeah. So we've been really focused on making the AI recipe better and better, right? And so what you saw is it's easier to install right now, which is great, which is important. We added this review step, optional review step, and that's actually been very helpful in helping people understand how Drupal works. And the cool thing about this review step, by the way, is that it's contextual. It actually knows your Drupal site, so it can give instructions specific to your Drupal site. So it's better in a way than generic documentation. And then we've been testing it and iterating with users, and it's been really well received. And so, yeah, I think this is looking really, really good. Personally, I think the AI agents will be game-changing for Drupal. And I think what I would like to invite you to do is to think, if you are a maintainer of a module, if you have a contributed module, think about, would my module benefit from having integration with AI? Would it benefit from having an AI agent on its own? And so that's going to be the next phase, where we have to move and essentially create dozens and dozens of these agents. And together, these agents, they can work together to do pretty incredible things. And personally, I've not seen any other CMS, any of our competitors, embrace these AI agents like we have. So I think this is a really important and special differentiator that we will have. But we need to jump on it, and we need to go build these agents. So hopefully, could be some of the things we work on this week. All right, so next, I want to talk a little bit about search. So search is also one of these recipes that we've been working on. And as you can imagine, for many websites, search can make or break a website. For some websites, search is the biggest feature, right? And so we wanted to make sure that Drupal CMS has great search out of the box. So let's take a look at our progress there as well.
Why search is important. Content-rich websites need search, so visitors can discover the content. However, different content needs different search experiences. Therefore, we need a solid foundation for search in Drupal CMS so users can build engaging searches. I'm Christoph from Onyx Internet, but of course I did not create the search functionality alone. When we started, we quickly learned that core search does not fulfill our needs. Instead, we chose the Search API module family because this provides feature-rich and extensible solution for building searches. Before starting, we confirmed our approach with the Drupal community. We conducted a survey and found high levels of approval to use Search API and provide functionality for search autocomplete and search facets. Let's take a look what this resulted in. When you install Drupal CMS and enable search recipes, the first thing you will notice is the search block on top of the page. The search block supports autocomplete and allows you to navigate directly to different search results. Let's try this. You can also execute searches, which will take you to a search result page. On this page, you see a fully configured search view that also supports facets. You can limit your search results based on these facets. And you can just combine this with other searches. Let's try this a bit. As you can see, the search input widget on the search result page also supports autocomplete. The search functionality is configured according to Drupal standards and can easily be extended. You could, for example, build a custom search that uses the tags of the different pages as facets. Unlike content types, tags are dynamic, and when we add new tags to pages, we automatically get new facets. I've prepared an example. Let's log in and try this out. On this page, you see a regular search. When I search, you see that I see facets again, but this time the facets are tags that are attached to the pages. They work as the content type tags we saw earlier, do the same thing. So now you can see there's no tag called DrupalCon, but there are two search results for DrupalCon. So let's add this new tag to the pages. So when I added this page and add the tag DrupalCon, and save the page and go back to my search for DrupalCon, you immediately see that we have a new search facet here that we can use. Let's add this to this page as well. This page has no tags yet. Add Drupal and DrupalCon. And now when you search and use the search tags as facets, you see we have two search results for DrupalCon that we can limit by. So we have created a powerful setup for search in Drupal CMS, and it's easy to extend. As part of our work, we've contributed recipes for search in Drupal CMS that provide the following functionality. A search API configuration that ships with a database backend and a content index that is automatically configured for all pages. A configuration for search API autocomplete, and a search view with facets. The configuration is minimal and as generic as possible, It provides ready-to-use functionality out of the box and serves as a solid foundation to build custom search experiences. Thank you to all the contributors of Search API and the related modules. Without a strong community behind Drupal, search in Drupal CMS would not be possible.
There you go. So search is looking pretty good, I think. Yeah. Of course, this was, a simple site with simple content and simple facets, but, in a more complex website, these facets and autocomplete will become really, really important. Now, what I really liked about this as well is how the search track leads conducted this survey. They basically went out to all of the other Drupal agencies and Drupal shops in the world, and they solicited their feedback on how do you build search experiences. And so they tried to learn from hundreds of different Drupal shops around the world, and then they took all these best practices and basically bundled it in a recipe, which is pretty interesting. And we actually tried to encourage all of the track leads to do so for their track, and many have. So this is one of the great things about Starshot, is that we've been able to learn from so many people in our community. All right, so we have another recipe. This is about data privacy. Interestingly, a lot of marketers need to think about data privacy, but if you think about CMSs in the world, we actually don't make it that easy for them. This is something that a lot of people need to do, yet it's not often available out of the box. So we figured if we want Drupal to be the golden standard for marketers, we need to think about how we can make this really easy for marketers around the world. So that's why we created the data privacy recipe. So let's take a look.
Drupal CMS comes to you with privacy features out of the box. This is important to help you comply with various regulations like GDPR in Europe, CCPA in the US, and many emerging legislations all over the world. There is the consent management, which is enabled by default. And there is an optional part that helps you protecting your users' sensitive data and comply with their consumer rights to know about their stored data and that data to be removed on request. Now, let's be honest. Most people think about privacy on the web as cookie banners, annoyances, lawmakers from the EU, like, for example, on this site. A pop-up blocks the content, which is not much different from a paywall. Instead of cash, you pay with your personal data. Is this because of legal requirements? No, it's not. Those implementations are doing it wrong. Drupal CMS does it right, though. There is no banner, there is no pop-up, and still this site respects the user's privacy and the user is in control. There is a link to the user settings. The visitor can check their settings at any given time, save their preferences, and even change them later on. There are some required cookies like the user consent selection or session data when they log in. Other services are optional and disabled by default. Only when a visitor saves their preferences, allowed cookies will be stored in the browser and other services will be loaded. For now, we've only accepted the required services. Let's go to the site that embeds a video from YouTube. Here is the trees node. Up to this point, the user's privacy is respected and no data is sent to any external service. The user can decide to either accept the external content once or always. If we select always, the video loads and our preferences is being stored in our settings as well. You can see that here. YouTube is allowed. So Drupal CMS delivers this functionality by integrating Claro, an open source consent management platform. It's free to use under BSD3 license, allowing both commercial and non-commercial use with no mandatory fees. While Claro is particularly useful for GDPR compliance in Europe, it's adaptable to data protection laws in other regions, It supports 23 languages out of the box and allows custom translations, making it suitable for global audiences. You, as the site owner, find everything prepared when you are logged in. Here you find a second link in the footer right next to the privacy settings, the privacy policy. You need to edit and publish that page before going live with your website. The settings for consent management are detailed and well organized that you can adjust if you need to. And the optional protection of sensitive user data will be implemented in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned. All of this has been researched, discussed, and implemented by a team of Drupal experts, together with lots of people around the world who helped us with interviews in understanding the requirements and preferences in different countries.
All right. So, yeah. As I said, I think it's really great that we'll have this as an optional recipe out of the box, because so many people have to figure this out. And also, I really like how it aligns with our purpose and our mission, which is to foster an open web. And actually, I love this, I guess, final frame of the video, because each of these recipes are having like these incredible collaboration stories. And this one is no different. So for the consent management piece, Jürgen, the track lead, actually researched all of these different options that we have. You know that Drupal has 50,000 modules today, and there was like 50 or so to do consent management. And they ended up actually gravitating to the EU consent module that came out as the winner, and they approached the maintainers of that module, a company called Ramsalt, and they said, actually, this module needs a bit of work. And then they suggested another module, the Claro module, and Ramsalt basically reallocated their resources and said, hey, we're going to double down on the Claro module. And then other people jumped in that have been working on this module, a Dutch company, I think, called Werk, I would say in Dutch, Werk 21 or Work 21. And they also pulled in. And so even though this was started by Jürgen, now so many people have been involved in building this module. And it's a great example of how the community is coming together and collaborating together on these recipes. Right? So if you see any recipe here today and you want to get involved, the chances are you can. So don't be afraid to reach out to these track leads or to join their Slack channels and to get involved as well. All right. I've got more. Media. Media is probably one of the most important features, right? And of course, Drupal ships with some media capabilities out of the box. But again, like just with these other recipes, we asked ourselves, how can we make media management better out of the box? And so that's what the media management recipe is all about. So we have a video about that as well.
I'm going to show you a couple of things now from the media management track. I've got some draft content here that I've been working on for my website. I'm going to add some media and get that published. So let's open the page up, click here, insert media on the toolbar. And the first thing I'm going to do is let's add an image. So I'm going to choose this one. And we've got focal point here, so we're going to move this crosshair over to the fella wearing the hat and add our alt text. So here's some I prepared earlier. I'm going to save that and insert it into our content. And here are some pre-configured image styles which are optimized. So this makes it very easy for the editor to resize and choose the aspect ratio that they want to display their image in. So we're going to go here for the square medium. Because of the focal point, in the center is this fella. But now our alt text doesn't quite make sense. So let's change that and override it just for this version. So a man in a hat at wine tasting holding a glass of wine. In fact, he's in a sun hat. Let's set the scene. Let's tick that. And down here is another image I've added. Just to prove it's a live demo, this is a little bit jumpy. Let's go 9:16 medium. And let's center that. Publish. And now this is how our content looks on the front end. So let's see one more thing from the media track. I've got a blog piece of content here, which is a dinner party playlist. I'm just going to add one more video that I added to the media library earlier. You can see here that options we've got are slightly different because we respect the aspect ratio of the video. Now, as you can see from the privacy track here, my preferences are set to block third-party content. So if I want to, I can allow it and watch the video.
All right. That was the media. Yeah. It's actually a long list of different modules that we're using here, a long list of small but key improvements, all the way from pre-configured image styles like you saw to support for the focal point to alt text overrides. So you can use a different alt text to deep WYSIWYG integration and much, much, much more. So, all right, I've got another one. Are you ready for this one? This is about analytics. Again, think about marketers and site builders. Like, so many people need to install analytics, and so we figured we should provide it out of the box, you know? And so let's take a look at the analytics recipe.
Hi everyone, as part of the analytics track, we did some research to understand which analytics platforms and features marketers care the most about. And we discovered that a great majority are using Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager. This led to the creation of a basic recipe that enables the Google Tag module as an easy way for marketers to add tracking capabilities to their websites. The coolest part right now is related to a functionality of recipes in Project Browser that allow us to prompt users for input during the installation of the recipe. The UI support for the form you will see in a couple of seconds is not yet in our release candidate, but it is in the works and it will be released soon. So I'm giving you a sneak peek into it. This is a normal Project Browser page for recipes. Here you can see the list of them and you can apply them. I will apply the analytics one by clicking on the Q button for it, and then clicking on Install Selected Projects. This will normally apply the recipe, but for the analytics one, we made it so the system shows a form that requires the user to input the container ID. This is an ID that the user can get from Google Tag Manager. So you basically enter the tag, hit enter or click on continue, and then it finishes applying the configuration. It creates the container automatically, and it leaves everything ready so the traffic can be tracked by visiting any page. Once the recipe is applied, the traffic is tracked. Of course, marketers can come to the Google Tag settings page, which is found in Configuration, Web Services, Google Tag, to confirm the tag ID is already added, as you see here, and do some other configuration if needed. But basic configuration is already in place, and marketers could potentially just stick to doing configuration on Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics directly if they need to. As part of the default configuration of this recipe, we included some default conditions about in what pages the tag is loaded. So we made it so administrative Drupal pages are excluded in order for those pages to not be tracked at all. Even without doing any extra configuration, if I visit the website, I get my tag loaded. We can check that here. If I inspect my homepage, I can try to find the GTM ID here, and I can see how it is loaded. It can be found in 3 different places, so that means the tag is here. While if I am actually in the content page, this one is an administrative page. If I try to find that same GTM ID. I can see there are no results. So this is a proof of the configuration working. Of course, at this point, the marketer can go to the analytics page to see reports on traffic to the website and make sure that things are working correctly. Finally, you can also see how we have integrated with the privacy track. In the bottom right, you can see the notice dialog that allows the users to accept, decline, or customize the tracking of their data. If we click on Customize, you can see how we get the categories for analytics and GTM as well. And of course, we can accept or decline as needed.
All right, that was the analytics track. Yeah, and hopefully you can tell how recipes, they basically bundle modules and configuration, and really the only thing you have to do is enter the Google Tag ID, you know? And I'm not sure if you caught it, but we were actually showing a new feature. So one of the challenges that we had with recipes in Barcelona is you could only sort of install the recipe, enable the recipe, but there was no way to configure anything. But a lot of recipes, they need to do a little bit of configuration, like entering the tag that you saw, or maybe in the case of the AI recipe, maybe you need to enter an OpenAI key or those kinds of things. And so we added that capability first on the command line, and now also it is being built to be part of the UI in Drupal itself, and you saw that briefly in the video. But this will be a capability that's available to all recipes, and then we can build really nice installers, almost like wizards. You enable a recipe and you can enter some custom settings like the ones that I mentioned. So some great progress there as well. And then I have one more recipe that I wanted to show you real quick, and that is the accessibility recipe, which obviously is really important for us. So let's take a look at the progress that we've made on accessibility.
The accessibility tools are not enabled by default in Drupal CMS, but can be easily installed in the project browser, clicking Extend in the navigation menu, and then choosing Browse, and finally, Recipes. Here you can queue the accessibility tools for installation. Click Install selected projects to apply the recipe. And with that done, you'll now have the tools available to help and guide you to keep and make your content accessible. As the editor of this content, I can see issues that could potentially cause problems for users of assistive technology. The installed accessibility checker will offer an explanation to help you understand why the issues cause difficulties, and will offer you advice on how to fix the issues. As I edit this document, you can see I'm offered real-time feedback, and we will see that as I fix these things, the number of issues will reduce. Making these improvements will not only affect users of assistive technology, but will likely improve the experience of all your users, and maybe even your SEO as well. I'll finish editing this document later.
All right, that was accessibility. Quick demo. All right, so I've shown you, 7 or so recipes, but we have like 20-something in the works, So this was just a little bit of progress. Now, think about for a second how much time it would take somebody to put all of these things together that I just showed you. And that was just, 7 or so recipes. Like, it takes days. Even for an experienced Drupal developer, it could take several days to put it all together the way that we did, probably weeks. Now, for somebody that is new to Drupal, this could take months of work of configuration. And so, again, recipes are very transformational in that they make it very easy for us to capture all of these best practices and make them very, very repeatable. All right, I got to keep moving here. I have a lot more content and only 10 minutes. So I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do this. Experience Builder. You know, Experience Builder is also a very important initiative for Starshot and for Drupal core. I think it will be transformational on its own. And if you don't know Experience Builder, it allows you to build pages and templates and edit global menu item, global page elements. It's a very, very ambitious project. And you can learn more about it here. Laurie, who is the product lead for Experience Builder, is here and has a session tomorrow as well. So I'm going to give you a little preview of the progress that we've made since Barcelona. And then you can also learn more at Laurie's session tomorrow. So let's take a quick look.
We gave you a demo of Experience Builder a few months ago at DrupalCon Barcelona. There's actually been a lot of progress since then that I'm very excited to share with you. We'll demonstrate this again with the demo design system that uses the new Drupal branding. All of the examples I'm showing are actually working, and this page that I have here is fully created using Experience Builder. All right, let's start by launching Experience Builder. Experience Builder uses a component-based design system. You can find the components on this left side panel. When we hover over a component, we can see a preview of that component. You can just pick a component and drag it to the page. These components can be either based on single directory components or SDC, or they can be based on Drupal blocks. This allows you to use pre-existing assets that you have on your site. So if you have Drupal blocks, single directory components already available on your site, they're compatible with Experience Builder. I actually like how this section looks like, so I am going to duplicate this. We could also create this into a section that is reusable on other pages. But since I'm just creating this one page now, I'm just going to duplicate it in here. We can drag it in place just by grabbing the component. We could also do that using the Layers panel. The Layers panel also allows us to inspect the tree of components so we can see what different components we have in here. Okay, I think my page is starting to look pretty good. Now I'd like to see how this looks like on the actual page. So I'm just going to click the preview, which opens up a preview mode, which shows an exact representation of how this page will look like when it's published. I actually want to verify that this looks good on mobile as well. So let's double check that as well. Yes, I think the responsive styles look good as well. All right, I'm ready to publish. And we're done. Let's go back to the front end to make sure that it's published. Yes, we can see the changes now.
All right, that is step one, yeah. I think it's really exciting. And again, we're trying to bring together layout builder and paragraphs into this, right? So we'll talk more about migration, something that I've been talking to Laurie and others about. Now, the next thing we're going to have to do is build more components. And so I wanted to give you a little preview, and I'm sure Laurie will talk about it more tomorrow, about how us as developers can contribute to building these components, and think about how you might want to start updating your contributed modules, all right, with these components. So let's take a quick look at that as well.
Maybe the components that I have in this component library are not enough. So I need to create a new component. We already have this stats card in here that takes, for example, a number and description. Let's take a look at it. Let's review how it was built. The stats card is a single directory component, defined with a component.yaml file. The values that we saw in the form are defined in this YAML file. For example, this value here defines whether the text should be on a light or dark background. Go back. It changes the color of the stats card. The markup of the component is defined in Twig. Twig is the templating language used by Drupal. This design system is using Sass-based approach, so we can look at the CSS in Sass. This is optional. This is something that this demo design system has decided. So in summary, what we need is a component.yaml file that defines what inputs a component can take, a Twig file, which defines what is the markup that is outputted by the component, and then a CSS file, which defines how that component should look like. And then, with all of those things, you can get a component that can be placed in Experience Builder, and where those component inputs can be changed by a non-technical content creator.
All right, there you go. So I wanted to show this too, because obviously the Experience Builder is created in React, as I talked about in Barcelona, but the components themselves don't have to be React components. As you saw, they're Twig components. All right, so, all right, let's keep rolling. These sections will go a lot faster, but next up is the marketing, because Starshot isn't just about product innovation and building a new version of Drupal. It's also about re-energizing the Drupal brand, right? So let me walk you through very quickly what we've done. So we essentially announced or unveiled, I would say, a new brand in Portland about 7 months ago, and we did that through a PDF document. And then in Barcelona, 2-ish months ago, we launched initial pages on a staging environment. So they weren't live in production. But today, we actually have the first live pages in production, as you probably have seen last week. If you go to Drupal.org, yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it looks so much better, like so much better, don't you think? And so we have like 7 pages live. It's a start, and obviously the next step is to convert many more pages, but we've actually built some tooling, the DA has built some tooling to empower more people to help build these pages. So now we need to do things like redo our marketplace. So we have designs for these, we just need to build them still. So in the next months, you'll start to see us convert more and more pages. As Tim already mentioned, we've hired 2 marketing people. So it's super exciting. Like, we've never had marketing people in the Drupal Association. So they're going to help with this. They're already driving this, but they're also going to not only make the design look better, but also the content. You know, it's not just about the design, it's also about the content. So a lot of great progress there. All right, very quick update on documentation as well. Again, documentation is so important for Drupal success. And we have a bit of a documentation problem. We have a lot of stale, outdated documentation that we need to deal with. Plus, we also wanted to set the gold standard for documentation in Starshot. So we created something new. You know, we took an idea of, you know, in the US, you see this Adopt a Highway program, where you can basically sponsor a piece of highway, and that money will go to keeping it clean. And so we came up with this Adopt a Document program, where organizations can essentially sponsor a section or a page of documentation. So if you sponsor a page, your logo will be right there. And so 2 months ago, when we launched the program in Barcelona, we had 2 organizations signed up to sponsor sections or pages. Today, we have 15 sections sponsored, which is really good. And yeah. We've also refined the table of content and fleshed out the exact pages that we need. We recruited more sponsors, as you can see. We prioritized all of the content. And Drupalize Me was helping us write the content, started writing it. And by the way, if you're still interested, we have 9 sections left. If you're interested, go talk to Lenny, who is sitting in front of you, and she can help you. All right, I also promised we would start hiring a global documentation lead, a person accountable and responsible for all of Drupal documentation, not just Starshot, but it was a bit conditional. If you remember, it was if the Adopt a Document program is successful, then we can take some of that money to hire a global documentation lead. And with the help of Tim and the DA, we've decided to go ahead. The job description is online. If people are interested in becoming Drupal's global documentation lead and become an employee of the Drupal Association, you can go check out the job description. So, all right. I've got a couple more things. I'll be quick. Of course, the million-dollar question, if you will, is, are we ready to launch? You know, like the January 15th is kind of like almost an impossible task. We said we're going to do this in 8 months, and we're now, what, a month away-ish? And actually less if you think about the holidays maybe slowing some of us down. And I think we've made a lot of progress, you know, recipes, experience builder, marketing, documentation, and all the things that I didn't mention. But I think as the Starshot leadership team, we do feel ready. Yeah. We have a lot of work to do. I don't want to, you know, we have a lot of work to do, but we do feel confident right now, and that could change, you never know, but we feel confident that we're going to launch. And in fact, we did a release candidate just for this event. And so all of you can go download the release candidate #1 of Drupal CMS. Yeah. So we're celebrating that tonight at the party. So it will be exciting. Again, as a quick reminder, our goal is to ship on January 15th, Drupal's birthday. And, you know, we'll have a lot of great things in there. You know, look at some of these features: AI, events, SEO, blog, dashboard, data privacy, and there's more. I didn't put everything on this page. So I think we'll have a lot to celebrate. And then we're going to do, you know, minor releases. You know, we'll add more recipes as they get ready. We'll add more features. And so we'll do like a V1.1, V1.2. And right now our goal is to do these releases every 3 months. So basically double the pace of Drupal core. We might change that later, but we feel like we want to keep launching quickly, at least for the time being. And then when Experience Builder is ready, we'll release Drupal CMS 2.0. Now, in my mind, Experience Builder looked pretty ready. I don't know, it looks really good. So I've been like, I'm not pushing Lori, but I'm just saying it looks pretty good. So I feel very confident we'll have an Experience Builder in 2025. All right? And 2025 will be a great year for Drupal with Starshot 1.0 and Starshot 2.0. Now, to celebrate, we're going to organize parties all around the world. It could be to celebrate the launch of Drupal CMS, or it could be to say farewell to Drupal 7. Because that's the other thing, like Drupal 7, after 14 years of serving us really well, will end soon. And so it also gives birth to Drupal CMS. So we have 2 things to celebrate, all right? So we encourage you to organize parties. You can go to celebratedrupal.org, where you can do one of 2 things. One, you can sign up or register that you're going to host a party in your local you know, town or city, country, or you can find out where the closest party is. And I'd love to encourage you to be creative. You know, one of the things that we want to do is we want to create good marketing things, you know, showcase the creativity of the Drupal project. And there's already one quick video that I wanted to show you, and it was created by Kristen Paul's son and a friend of him. So I'll show that real quick. So be creative, and we'll allow you, or encourage you to upload your videos, ideas, whatever it is. So before I wrap, I wanted to say a couple more things, a few quick thank yous, all right? So first of all, and Tim already showed this slide, but really, innovation is accelerating. You know, like one of my big goals and one of Tim's big goals is like, how do we accelerate innovation in Drupal? And I think Starshot has been a great contributor to all of that. We've had so many companies contribute to Drupal CMS or Starshot as well. So I can't thank all of these organizations enough. Thank you so much for all of your contributions. Yeah. Now, I showed a lot of recipes and the track leads, but there's so many other people that have been involved, maybe not working on recipes, maybe not as visible. So I wanted to highlight a few quick people. So first is Wayne. Wayne helped us create the HTML email recipe. And he did that based on some of the contributed modules that he wrote, like Symfony MailerLite, an easy email. And after we added that functionality, we gave him some feedback, and he immediately, took that feedback into account and iterated. So really nice contribution. Or take Robert from 4Kitchens. He helped us with the unpacking, so to speak, of the recipe dependencies, and that was actually a critical blocker. I'll spare you the details, but the goal was to essentially allow recipes to be removed after being applied. Or Emma, which you saw in the AI video. She's been really helping with the UX and the testing side and organizing different things. Also, Lewis, he actually kind of retired from Drupal, but he was so struck, I guess, by the fact that we're focused on user experience first and UX first that he came back. Like he re-engaged with Drupal because of the approach that we're taking, and he's been leading contributors in defining processes and priorities and conducting research, all of these things. And then you have people like Magdalena and Farah and Damon that have been helping with so many different things as well. And they're relatively new to Drupal, or at least contributing to Drupal. And they've taken Gin and Claro and broken it down in design components that we can put into Figma to enable more people to help. So we're really trying to take a UX first approach, and we have so much more work to do on this. I'm going to be talking about this a lot more in my next Dries note. We're going to need a lot more help here. So stay tuned for more updates on that. And then there's two more people I want to highlight real quick, and then I'll wrap it up, because I see the sign. All right, first person is Adam Honig. Yeah. Adam has been amazing. Some of you might not know Adam, but he basically single-handedly wrote the original prototype that I showed in Portland. He's been a major contributor to the recipe initiative as well. When we decided to make Project Browser a key part of Starshot, he became a major contributor to Project Browser as well. He's been assisting all of the track leads. He probably reviewed every single line of code that has gone into Drupal CMS, and has been helping actually bridge the gap, so to speak, between Drupal core and Drupal CMS, helping push for changes upstream. And so, yeah, I've been really, really impressed by Adam. And without Adam, we would not be here today. So, thank you, Adam. Yeah. All right, one more slide. The other person I would like to thank is actually Pam. And Pam is here today. Yeah. She doesn't know this slide was here, but I've been really impressed by you, Pam. Without Pam, Drupal CMS would not be here today. And you brought a lot of expertise as a CTO of Technocrat. You've been helping with product management and project management. And I've been really impressed with your ability to think about the big picture, as well as to help pay attention to all the details in Starshot, so both strategic and tactical. And along the way, you've been helping so many people make progress and unblocking different things. So thank you very much, Pam, for making this all happen. Yeah. All right. That's it. Sorry for running late, but hopefully this was exciting. I'm here all week, so come and talk to me. And then tomorrow, we have a Q&A as well. All right, so tomorrow morning, we have a Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dries.